Sorry guys about the lighting situation. We got blackout. Just trying to save power. I'm saying that while I'm watching the news happening on the other computer. Try that one. It's 8:14 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. It's August 9th, 2023. Wednesday. We're John C. Roseman, California. I'm seeing more political news happening right now, but when CNN picks up and CBS News and then MSNBC picks up what happened in Hawaii. The state of Hawaii is going through fire, wildfires. They got out on the Big Island and they also have it on Maui. I've been trying to track it somehow. They got a news happening online, live streaming, and I'm trying to keep track of how it is. There are old towns in the island of Maui that promote a lot of tourism and attract a lot of people there because of the old world charms. Because of the drought situations, even as Hawaii experienced them, they haven't been getting any water to replace their own water tables. If they have any desalinization plants, they're going to have to depend on those things for a while. But it takes years to get those damn things up and running. And right now, they've got portions of Hawaii and Maui on fire. It was one thing when I was watching the volcanic explosions on Mount Kilauea, and then the oozing coming out, and then the slow oozing of volcanism, taking out homes and residents and businesses left and right. They were still recovering from that. The state's still recovering from that. They don't know what's caused the fire just yet. Don't know what started it. Probably nature, anyway. But the weather conditions over there suck. They've got a lot of sunshine, but no relief in sight for the next couple of weeks that they've been projecting and they've been trying to watch. They've got road closures on the Maui and Hawaii. I'm just waiting for CNN to get past the damn political cycle and every other thing. I mean, this is major news, and that they're treating this as a minor news. I'm hearing from Hawaii at this point of what's going on. There's been ashfall. They had satellite pictures showing the ashfall blowing away from the island of Maui. What looked like it was a cloud of rain was a cloud of ash. Normally, when other places have that kind of burning going on, satellites will pick up on it. The news guys haven't slept in a while, and they're showing it. And they're showing films of devastation of how the fire's starting. They had a hurricane named Adora. Is blowing past Hawaii, hundreds of miles, but still the effect is still drawing the winds towards Dora and blowing across Maui and the islands. And it's affecting a lot of places left and right. It's terrifying. It's terrifying because I'm seeing this. It didn't occur to me that Maui was also going through a drought. It didn't occur to me that these guys were going through a situation that nobody understood. But this was just basically global warming happening. It's bad enough when I saw news articles concerning about Juneau and how homes up there were getting destroyed because of rising river caused by melted glaciers. Even Alaska, even Juneau was affected. How cold Juneau is. And when it gets warmed up, it gets warmed up, but not that to the point where the glaciers are really starting to tear apart homes because they're along the riverside. And we're seeing the effects more and more of it. It's bad enough when I kept seeing wildfires happening throughout Europe over the past year or two. And then the Canadian fires just still haven't got out yet. That's still going. And bad enough when Australia goes up in the outback. Sometimes they had to let it burn out because they didn't have enough water out there to deal with it. Global warming is real. It has affected our temperatures and our climate. Water's temperatures are rising slowly, about a degree at a time. And that does something to the ecosystem of the entire ocean community, and everybody else for that matter. Coral reef usually supplies a lot of oxygen to the planet. We lose them, we lose our oxygen. We lose the plant life on top, we're going to suffocate. Or slowly use up our oxygen because we're pumping in so much gas we can't even get rid of the damn shit. Watching this, watching what's happening. Certain cameras that Hawaii is turning to show things happening on Maui and not to mention on the big island of Hawaii. Hawaii? They have issues concerning about hurricanes because they are an island state, much like the Caribbean, except they deal with the warmer waters coming up from the south and the Midlats, and how those hurricanes turn into typhoons and blow past. Right now, here we go.
Across western Maui, hurricane-charged winds are making it nearly impossible to battle at least 5 separate fires, including one that did move through a Maui neighborhood. 911 service and cell service has gone down in parts of that island. Officials describe a dire situation as hospitals are overwhelmed with patients suffering burns and smoke injuries. Now, Kate spoke to a man who shot video of a fire encroaching on his West Maui town. He described it as a wall of fire engulfing buildings on both sides of the street. He said he does not expect his homes to survive.
One of my houses definitely caught fire. The other houses are each a block away, and I did not see them burn, but I recognize there is a very good chance that they are not there anymore. Both of them were completely covered in smoke. When I went, after I started to evacuate, I went back to just check to see if the house was on fire or not. It wasn't, but I was standing at the street looking at my house, and I couldn't see my whole house because of the smoke. But the smoke was coming from another property that was a few buildings away. And then I went down to Front Street right after that and wanted to check on my gallery. I've had a gallery in the center of Front Street for 23 years. And as I began walking that way, there's a historic building on Front Street in Dickinson, the old Baldwin House. The roof was on fire, and I started taking a video of it because I was amazed that there were no fire trucks there. And then as I turned and looked down Front Street exploded in flame.
Just remarkable pictures there. And earlier we also spoke with a Hawaiian official who told us that these fires are not at all under control. CNN's Derek Van Dam, you can see him. He is with us now. Derek, not at all under control. What hope is there to turn the corner against these fires?
Well, we've got a tough 12 hours ahead. My producers and I just checked on the current conditions on Maui. winds are gusting to 66 miles per hour within the past hour. So clearly still funneling and fueling some of these flames. So what you're looking at, and the video you saw directly before me, is from Lahaina on the western side of Maui. You got to understand that this is the economic hub of Maui. This is where residents go. This is where tourists or residents live. This is where tourists go to vacation. With 20% of the island without power, this is a significant event for the island of Maui, and it's not just Maui, it's also Hawaii. We've learned just in the past couple of hours, emergency declarations being issued by the Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii for the Big Island. From that burn scar you start to see, or this hot spot you see on this satellite imagery. Also interesting to note, you can see the direction of the smoke just pushing the wildfire smoke away from Maui and into the open ocean of the Pacific Ocean. This is showing you just how strong the winds actually are. So what's taking place here? Why are we getting these strong winds over the Hawaiian Islands? It's all thanks to this kind of pressure squeeze between the high pressure to the north and a passing hurricane to the south. That's Hurricane Dora, and it's putting the squeeze on the Hawaiian Islands, and what that's doing is creating wind gusts in excess of 80 miles per hour. That's equivalent to a Category 1 Atlantic hurricane. Wind advisories and red flag warnings are in place for the entire Hawaiian Island chain, and similar to what we experienced in Southern California with Santa Ana winds, we are having this wind come up and over mountaintops. Very simple thermodynamic processes at play here. As that wind rushes over the mountains and through the canyons, it dries out, it heats up, and it also increases the wind. So until this hurricane and this high pressure move away from the Hawaiian Islands, we will see these winds, these very dry, hot winds that create these timberbox conditions, continue. John?
A tough 12 hours ahead, as you said. Derek Van Dam, thank you very much. Kate?
Comment.
I had to get that on record anyway. CNN meteorologist I had on there. It's one thing I kept saying about fires from other places left and right, and yeah, I'd freaked out concerning about Australia because outback, well, dry, perfect conditions, but I didn't realize Canada was going up in smoke. And then when the air pressures and then the jet stream was blowing the stuff basically into the northeastern sections of the country. Jersey, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and those areas. New England. And blowing a little southwards. Because of the fires are out of control in the eastern regions of Canada, stretching towards the west in certain areas. There's been no word whether or not they actually got the fires under control. We haven't heard anything about it in weeks. And Hawaii would have been almost like another Caribbean nation, except it's isolated out there in the Pacific, and they are subject to a lot of atmospheric conditions out there. They were saying that there was a pressure gradient forcing the air. Let's see. Highs are clockwise, lows are counterclockwise. But this one, pressure on the north, and then you got Dora moving, which is forcing the air current to blow across Hawaii and going on a west-southwest direction, blowing the smoke away from the island instead of smoking it up, which means the fires are going to be getting closer and closer to the edges of the islands if they're not contained to the edges. It just is overwhelming in the morning seeing all this. At one time in my life, I thought I could see historic Hawaii. Beautiful Hawaii. It would be like going through the fire areas that we've actually had out here in the Southland and trying to see maybe something. After we have our devastating fires in certain sections of Southern California in my past lifetime, it took the area decades to grow back to where it was almost decent enough looking. And that scares me. Because now I'm not quite sure how to deal with that one. I wanted to see how beautiful Maui looked. Certain sections of May. But in other sections it's going to be looking like it's Southern California after a fire. I've already seen and smelled too much of fire. And I heard about the tornadic activity happening in the eastern states. A lot of tornadoes, a lot of damaged homes. During the summertime, it's the season for the tornadoes. Tornado Alley is extended all the way from the Midwest Plains. By hell, tornadoes can be done anywhere. Screw up the atmosphere enough, get sufficient enough flat land, and say hello to the activity. We get dust devils out here in the Antelope Valley. They're like dusty tornadoes. Mini sometimes and sometimes tall. Sometimes you'll see a little swirl on the ground to where you're seeing a tower about maybe 25, 30, 40 feet in the air. 2 or 3 stories sometimes. 2-story, mostly. They're beautiful to look at in a distance, but up close, just make sure your hat's not with you or anything else for that matter. And I'd been through a few of those minor ones. A decade and a half ago, I was taking pictures of it. I don't know where the hell I got those videos still. Buried in a drive somewhere. It was a flat enough area in Lancaster where I was standing right in the middle of it. It was just a small one too. Didn't feel the air sucking. I was just feeling a little twirl, and that was about it. Nothing. Larger ones, let's take your breath away. On a clear sky, we would get dust devils. Not when it's cloudy. What I was saying online concerning about Hawaii, it makes me sick to my stomach. It reminds me so much of natural disasters that I've been through, and usually quakes and fires, and that's about it. Riots don't count. They're once in a while. They're once in a blue moon. But I don't know. It just makes me rattled. It shouldn't, but it does. Because now I'm getting sucked into another state's situation. They got fire videos online, no lives yet. But seeing these things still scares the hell out of me. I'm constantly aware of the fire danger out in my neighborhood in the Antelope Valley. Where there's brush and scrub, there's fire potential. There's fuel for it. We have a small fire unit out in Edwards Air Force Base. They usually takes care of fires happening on a base, but they work with Roseman. Well, we need extra help. We've got 4 engines out here. We got 4 engines. And if we need any more help, we'll try to drag help from Mojave if we have to, or Tehachapi if needed. But we'll also drag it from LA County if necessary. We're isolated that way. 10, maybe 12 miles away from Mojave. A little bit longer to Tehachapi. 15, maybe 20 between here and the base. We're sure as hell about 12 to 15 from Lancaster, from the nearest fire station. We're isolated. Watching some of those places out in Hawaii, everything's so... One would never suspect that an island like that could be subjugated to extreme atmospheric conditions, but you know, a hurricane is an extreme atmospheric condition, and plants will survive. But torched, because of atmospheric conditions, just burns things up left and right, and you got wind. Something triggered the damn thing, and then it breaks loose, and then nobody's got the resources necessary to put out an island fire. They have to depend within their own. You're talking about even worse than Roseman. Roseman, we're landlocked. We got 15, 20 mile response time coming to our town. Hawaii's got its own, and they're getting their asses kicked. It takes hours to get things going over there, and if the military would help out over there in the joint thing, they'll be supplying their firefighting equipment or aerial equipment if they've got it, to do airdrops if they have to. Even water tenders, if they've actually got 1 or 2, would be hopefully enough for some of the areas, but I don't know. Hawaii's on its own. I'm devastated about the news. It makes me scared as hell, okay? I'm here landlocked. They're not. I'm scared for them. I'm crying because it's miserable looking at this point over here. Hawaii's talking to the world as if they're going to be burning up entirely. Historic towns. Historic places. Gone. And it's hard as hell to deal with it. They're seeing shops that are being replayed again and again and again of how this town is disappearing left and right. I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to do fundraising. I'm not. But it is emotionally devastating seeing this thing. I consider myself probably lucky out here that we're not in that kind of situation, that we can get fire resources if we need them. It's not just that. It's seeing the fire danger itself. I have been in a valley that was surrounded by fire different times in my life when I lived out there for 38 years in the San Fernando Valley. It's bad enough dealing with earthquakes, but it's like every summer I had to see a portion of the San Fernando Valley go up in smoke. It'll take it maybe 2 or 3, maybe 5 years to get recovered, and you'll see the recovery on top, but the burn is still on below, the char. I've seen that happen in the canyons. Soledad and the canyons. During the 14 freeway area, between Newhall Pass all the way through the Antelope Valley. Pearl Blossom, I was trying to think of. No, not that one. Well, that also gets, but not as much. No. Sierra Highway. Oh, yeah, that's the one. Traveling along Sierra Highway is beautiful. Soledad Canyon's beautiful. But after a devastation fire, even 2 or 3 years afterwards, it's horrible looking. Nature's struggling to get back on its feet. There may be still seeds in the ground that still need to be woken up, and if we got water coming through, either the soil gets washed away and there goes the seeds, or the seeds are planted enough where they're going to be taking root, and then it takes a while for the plants to blossom again. Try to show a little bit of greenery from all the burn. In nature, it happens. When the burn's gone, renewal. It should give some people hope. For me, it still depresses the crap out of me because we still have to go through the burn itself. And it's still devastating to watch. Hell of a thing to talk about to a therapist in about an hour and a half, that's for sure. Looking forward to it. It's bad enough talking politics, but I hadn't talked to politics with her about it. What I'm talking about is memories that are still haunting me to this time. Memories I still got to deal with. Memories I got to cope with. We take things for granted. I've taken things for granted. Survived a lot. But it doesn't take away how I feel about what's going on these days. I'm still scared as hell. I'm still nervous as hell. How the hell am I supposed to be able to deal with that? I'm still dealing with memories, and I'm still dealing with feelings concerning about the stuff I'd been through. And you know, sometimes it's kind of hard talking about this stuff because I keep thinking everyone else has gone through their own hard and sad times, and I shouldn't feel so bad, and I should feel... What the fuck am I supposed to feel like? What exactly am I supposed to be feeling like? Because right now I'm still feeling the devastation. I'm still feeling the fear and the terror and how it's squeezing. And it's scaring the living crap out of me. It's still scaring the hell out of me. I have to put that on record. Because I'm trying to be honest with myself at this point. I am struggling through this. And it makes me terrified. So yeah, I gotta deal with this crap.